Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Colorado in America, one of the better known beer states over there, known in fact for their canned beers, as you can probably guess with this one and my other Colorado reviews I've done. But for this one we are going to return to Durango and have my third visit to Ska Brewing Company. I've reviewed the Modus Operandi and the Modus Mandarina before, and it's the Imperial IPA that we're going to look at today. This one is called Decadent. It comes in at 10% and it's done with Cascade hops, rated 85 overall on Rate Beer, so it should be a pretty damn awesome one to have a look at. It's not as highly rated as the Modus Operandi in fact, but I'm sure it will be a pretty damn good beer nonetheless, and hopefully for my future reviews from Ska I can try one of their dark beers, because it's mainly been the lighter styles of beer that I've tried so far. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Ska. More will be added in the near future, and there's all the usual social media. Make sure you check that out. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel, and as always, to those of you watching in Colorado, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review from your state. And of course, to those of you in the rest of America, please do the same, because I know some of the other states have some pretty damn awesome beers that just really aren't heard of that much outside of these states. America is quite difficult to get some of the lesser known beers from, so do get in touch and let me know about those. But anyway, to tell you about Ska Brewing Company. So Ska were founded in Durango in Colorado back in 1995 by Bill Graham and Dave Thibodeau, who were basically disgruntled at the fact that they could drink beer but they couldn't actually buy it themselves, so they started to brew their own, and they named the brewery after their favourite genre of music. And basically because of this, all of the brewery designs are sort of rude boy culture, you know, the kind of checks and the sort of comic book style. If you go and have a look at their website in the description below, you'll see exactly what I mean. It kind of strikes me as one of these sort of almost punk rock magazine type comic things. It's really quite nice artwork actually. But apparently in 2003 they became the second brewery in Colorado to can their beers. This of course was after Oscar Blues, but this was when they actually bought the old canning line from Oscar Blues when they expanded. But in 2008 they expanded themselves and moved to their current location at the Bodo Industrial Park in Durango, which produces over 21,000 barrels of beer per year. And just to list some of the other beers you get from these guys, in their flagship range there's the Pinstripe Red Ale, which I would love to try, the True Blondes, the Modus Operandi, Buster Nut Brown Ale and Steel Toe Stout. I need to try one of the darker ones, like I say. In their seasonal range they've got Autumn Mole Stout, Estival Cream Stout, Euphoria Pale Ale, Vernal Mint Stout, and the Hibernal Vinifera Stout, and also the Mexican Lager as well. And they do have the robust reincarnations, and these seem to be their high ABV beers. So I'm guessing that this one is actually one of the robust reincarnations. So this should be a pretty damn awesome beer, and if it's a special one, it's quite cool that we managed to get this here in Sweden, because like I've told you many a time, our alcohol stores here are nationalised, so we've only got a very limited selection of choice that we can get here, but we get special beers every couple of weeks, and this one came through one of those small portier ranges that I've talked about before. But I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. There you can see what I mean, the nice artwork on this one. You can see the woman there who's got the skull and the top hat on there with the hop cones in her mouth, the skeleton, same on the back of course, and there's a little bit there, and this is the import sticker. If I take this back I get 1 Swedish crown back, not that you can do too much with that, but you should recycle and save the planet, as I always say with my chemistry and physics background. But it looks very nice, so we'll get it out and into the glass. It should be a pretty damn awesome beer. 10% double IPA from Durango in Colorado, not California. Mixing up my words here. 2 very well known beer states of course, so hopefully you guys can forgive me for that one. But Colorado is actually somewhere I've not been since I was very, very young. I went there, and from what my dad told me when I was there, I complained for the whole time because you couldn't get the wooden Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends trains in the toy shops. For some reason in Colorado you just couldn't get them, and apparently I was in the huff for the full time that we spent in Colorado. And likewise California's a state I've not been to since I was very, very young, so I need to get back to the States now that I'm over 21 and I can actually drink there. Because that stopped me going for a couple of years actually. But as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice orange amber. It's actually crystal clear. I was expecting something a little bit hazy, but maybe that's just the canned conditioning. You can see there's a finger of a frothy, I'd say a cream coloured head on this one. Not quite brilliant white, but cream coloured, I would say. You can smell some of the juicy fruits coming off this one. You can smell the grapefruit, and there's a little bit of passion fruit or peachy note coming off this beer too. But you can see, if I put my fingers behind it, it is pretty crystal clear. A few big bubbles on the side of the glass at the bottom, but quite a few little ones going up towards the bottom of that head there. But it looks really, really nice. Top looking beer. So let's have a proper look at the aroma and see how we get on with this one. That smells nice. It's really fruity actually. It smells really quite like a juicy beer, to be honest. Yeah, so you've got some nice kind of orangey citrus coming out of this one. That's more in the background though. I'd say this one is leaning a bit more towards the tropical fruit. You don't have quite a big oily orange citrus that you can sometimes get when you use Amarillo hops and things. But you can pick up the grapefruit that you'd expect from the Cascade. There's a little bit of passion fruit in there too, I'd say, and maybe something like peaches. You can pick up the juicier elements rather than the oily elements that sometimes you pick up with these hops. But let's sugar it up and see what else we get out of it. You always get different character when you sugar the beer up a little bit. Yeah, when you sugar the beer up a bit more, you start to get some more floral, sort of aromatic notes from it. You can smell the sweet caramel in there too. There's a sweet caramel malt base, a little bit of maybe biscuity, slightly biscuity, grainy sweetness coming out of this one too. You can pick up that little bit of character in this one. As you sugar it up, as I say, more floral aromaticity, some grassy character as well. But the nice juicy fruits are coming out really well in this one. It smells really nice actually. Yeah, that's a nice smelling beer that. It's actually a lot more subtle than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be quite in your face because the pardon me, the modus operandi had a big aroma, but for me this one's actually a little bit more subtle than that. But you can smell a little bit of the boozy character and the nice oily hops. But there's a bit of pine resin in there too. The dark floral aromaticity coming out, a bit of the lighter grassy characters too. As I say, tropical fruit, a bit of grapefruit in there, some passion fruit, maybe a little bit of peachy character as well actually, and some nice caramel and slightly biscuity malt base. So just enjoy the aroma a little bit before you get stuck in, but we're going to give this beer a try now. So this is the Decadent Imperial Ipa from Ska Brewing Company in Durango in Colorado. Make sure you try some of their beers because they've been pretty awesome so far. Slanja. Yeah, now that's a pretty good beer, no two doubts about that. The thing that I'm liking about this one right away is that it's got a very good balance, in my opinion, between the malts and the hops. Sometimes the beers can be really, double IPAs can be really in your face with the hops, and for me, part of the charm of the double IPA is that you get a bit more of the caramel in it. You get a bit more of the boozy, sweet caramel malt, and that's what I really like. Some of these West Coast IPAs that you can get, they just go all out for the hoppiness, and hops are good. I do enjoy hoppy beers, but they just lack a little bit in the malt-based balance for me, and this one does it really nicely. Yeah, for me, if I was ever going to session a double IPA, which is quite hard to do because of the alcohol content in the beers, this would definitely be one that you would consider for that. As I say, that balance between the malt base and the hoppiness is really nice. The hoppy dryness and the malt sweetness just go together really well in this beer. It doesn't seem to favour either of them in my opinion. They're both very well balanced in there, but you get a bit more of the hoppy character in the aftertaste. But as the beer's going down, that comes out, that balance comes out really nicely. Yeah, that's nice. Certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. I'd love to try it on tap and see how it comes out actually. But in terms of the flavours of this one, in the middle of the palate where the malty flavours come out, you get that nice sweet malt base. The caramel in this one is actually really quite light and quite sweet. Sometimes the caramel malts can be a little bit toasty, but this is actually a really nice sweet malt. There is a little tiny bit of just a very light kind of bready character, or maybe even just pale malt going across the middle of the tongue in this one for me, but you can pick up that nice sweet malt base in there. I do wonder if they've used like 2-row malts in this one. For me, the 2-row malts that you get in some of these West Coast IPAs are really nice. And you get just a nice balance between the sort of lighter bready side of things, but you get that sweeter caramel from those, and it works out really nicely. And as I say, the malt base in this one for me is really good. There's maybe a little bit of biscuity character in there, but that's very minimal. It's really more about a sweet kind of caramel flavour coming out of this beer, and it covers the alcohol very well. You do feel a little bit of the warmth, and you can taste that this beer is boozy, but the sweetness really covers it up quite well. Yeah, this is a nice beer. Certainly, like I say, very sessionable. But in terms of the hop flavours of this beer, at the back corners of the palate, it's big and floral and kind of aromatic. You've got that darker floral aromaticity, but just underpinning that, there's a lot of kind of resinous pine characters in this one. It only said on the website that they used Cascade. I don't know if there's other hops in there too, but I would guess there's maybe like some Chinook or something like that in this beer too. Chinook or Centennial would be my guess to get the big piney resins in there. But I mean, it's really nice. A big piney resin character at the back corners of the palate. As you come further forward, it becomes a bit more floral and aromatic, and as you go round the front curve of the tongue, you get more of the lighter kind of grassy flavours of the beer. And just behind that front curve, there's a nice oily bubble in there, and that's where some of these fruit characters are coming out. There is a little bit of orange in there, which makes me wonder if there is some Amarillo, but the tropical fruits come out on top of that too. There's some grapefruit in there, which is what you'd expect from the Cascade hop. I want to say there's a little bit of passion fruit too, and there is the peachy elements that I was picking up in the aroma aren't really coming out in the flavour, I'd say. It's more, that's more something that really isn't just in the aroma, which I was quite surprised about, but like I say, the flavour balance in this beer is really, really nice. Yeah. That's a really nice beer. As I say, as you move into the aftertaste, the hoppy character just lingers there. The aftertaste is it's the dark floral aromaticity and the sort of piney resins that are sitting there in this one, and that's really nice. And the sweet malt base just sits there too. The way the flavour progresses in this beer is really nice. I can see, like on rate beer, it's always the really kind of like just in your face hoppy beers that get the very, very high ratings, and those are good. But for me, it's almost a little bit like a lost art where you can balance the malt base so well, and that's what Ska have done here. And I thought the same with that's what I also enjoyed about the Modus Operandi. They did have a nice little bit of malty sweetness in there. I always love that little bit of caramel taste in there, but this is another very, very good beer from these guys. They've hit form with this one in my opinion, so yeah, definitely give this one a go if you like your IPAs, your double IPAs with a nice bit of sweet caramel flavour. This one hits the spot in that regard. In terms of the mouthfeel, this one, I'd say it's mid-bodied. It's not quite as it's more balanced, like I say, than some of the other double IPAs I've come across. You've got a nice oily mouthfeel in this one. That suits the more malty flavour that it's got. The carbonation is quite moderate. There is a little bit of it there, but there's a good hoppy dryness that comes out, particularly in the aftertaste. It's drier around the back of the palate where those piney resins are coming out, and it just becomes that little bit wetter as you come further forward. But you do have a bit of dryness from the floral aromatic aspects of the beer. The malt base is sweet, and there's just a little bit of juicy fruit too. So it has everything that you would want from a double IPA, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. So yeah, as always, I hope you've enjoyed the beer review. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comments section below. Let me know your favourite beers from Ska Brewing Company as well. I've enjoyed the beers I've tried from these guys so far, so do let me know what ones I should be trying from them next. But until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media things, and do get in touch and let me know some other Colorado beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. But most importantly, go and check out some of the Ska Brewing Company beers if you haven't already. This one is pretty damn awesome, and if you want something a bit lighter, do check out the Modus Operandi. That's a pretty damn awesome beer as well. But until the next time, Slange just now, and we will return to Ska Brewing Company in the fairly near future. Catch you soon with more beer reviews. Cheers.